This book is nuts. I really enjoy a story in there where it talks about authority and how a study was done decades ago where people one party was a teacher role and the other was like a student role. It's not the exact terminology, but they wired up the student with a bunch of electrodes and they were going to get an electric shock. And then the person in the teacher role or the administrator role, I think is the exact terminology, they had to administer the shock. And the shock would increase by a number of volts every time. And the whole study was meant to study the administrator of the shock. And they didn't know the person receiving the shock was an actor, so they weren't really in pain or whatever. But when basically the study was based around the person administering the shock, and they were instructed to continue to administer the shock until they reached the maximum voltage. So there was a guide, an authority that spoke to the administrator. They were wearing a lab coat and some like authoritative scientist person that said, okay, you need to keep going, you need to keep making the shock. Every time the administrator made the shock, the actor acted more in pain, screamed, whatever, and the administrator wanted to stop, and then the authority told the administrator, continue with the shock. So where am I going with this story? The administrator person continued to struggle, wanting to stop, didn't want to hurt the other person, but they felt like they had to obey the authority that was telling them to continue going. So what does this tell us about human nature? There's this innate desire to be obedient, to do what someone in charge tells us to do. It's a herd mentality. It's a desire to obey. It even goes back to the Garden of Eden, where man obeyed God and walked with God as an authority. And it's just the way we're designed. And I think God made us this way to where it keeps society in order, where there is an automatic level of deference to authority that can easily be manipulated. That's the whole point of this story. Then number two, just because somebody's an authority doesn't mean you have to always do whatever they tell you to do. And as people, we sometimes take that shortcut and it hurts us.